But does it take Glock mags? Yes. Yes, it does. In this video, we're gonna be going over the specs of the Gen 3 that we have in front of us. We're also gonna be doing a comparison of the Gen 3 Vector to its counterpart, the Gen 2. And then also, we're gonna be discussing how this did at the range, as well as its reliability, and see if it's worth picking up. Jumping right into it here, the specs on the Gen 3. This one specifically is a Gen 3 SDP 9mm. They do offer this in 9mm, 10mm, as well as 45 auto. And they also offer it in different barrel lengths as well as SBR configurations. This one, however, is a brace on the back and it has a shorter barrel. This is a 5.5-inch barrel on this SDP version, which I think is the best way to go. I plan on SBRing this, which we'll discuss later in the video more, and I think the Vector is meant to be in a short and fun configuration. Other things to note on this, it has M-LOK handguard on the front, so you can have a spot here on the bottom and also on the left side. Not a whole lot of room to mount stuff, but you do have some options. Out of the box, it does come with the Kriss Vector iron sight, so front and rear. Honestly, not bad flip up backup sights. Since this is the 9mm version, it does come with a threaded barrel for 1/2x28 threads. And on the front here, we have mounted a dead air Mojave 45, which if this gun was chambered in 45, this suppressor would make a lot more sense. That being said, the Mojave 45 still does a great job suppressing the 9mm cartridge. And then also, above all, of course, this does take Glock mags. Next up, let's do a side-by-side comparison here on the tabletop. We're going to compare the Gen 3 to the Gen 2 and see what's different. So up top we have the Gen 2, so this is the Kriss Vector Gen 2 SDP enhanced version, and down below we have the Kriss Vector Gen 3 SDP version. The first big thing you're going to see right away that's different is on the enhanced version they have this extended handguard here. On the Gen 3 though, since this is just the normal SDP model, we do not have that. Also, another big difference between these two is the enhanced version, since it has that extended shroud here or area to mount stuff, is the barrel length is actually longer. So the Gen 2 SDP enhanced is a 6.5-inch 9mm barrel versus the Gen 3 we have here SDP is a 5.5-inch. Overall look, I feel like the Gen 3 is just an updated, more clean look to it. Don't get me wrong, the Gen 2 looks awesome as well, especially with this camo on it from the factory, but I think they just put a more modern look and finish to the Vector. A difference you'll see on the Gen 3 is the mag release. Here's what the mag release looks like on the Gen 3 here versus on the Gen 2. You can see it's more of a rectangle shape. After using both of these, I do prefer the Gen 3. I feel like ergonomically it's easier to hit, a little bit bigger. Another thing to note on the Gen 3, this is swappable. So if you're a left-handed shooter, you can actually remove this here, and swap this to this side. So that way instead, again, if you're a left-handed shooter, you can use your thumb here to eject the mag. Next up is the bolt catch release. So looking here on this section of the Gen 2 versus the Gen 3, you can see that they do have different bolts on it. Another thing that they changed is the skeletonized trigger here. So you can see this is just a normal trigger versus on the Gen 3, you have this skeletonized trigger. One of my favorite upgrades they made to it though is in the rear of the Vector, and that is putting a 1913 pick rail from the factory right on the back of the Vector. On the Gen 2 model, it did not come with a 1913 pick rail. In fact, it came with like a little, I don't know, plug piece that had a quick attach detach sling mount. So in order to put this contraption on here, this is actually a Strike Industries adapter piece that allows you to then put the Strike Industries 1913 pick rail, and then you can put, I have the Strike Industries stocker brace on the rear then. So rather than having to do all of those different adapter pieces, they updated it. They threw that 1913 pick rail right on the rear, so that way you can attach your brace or stock directly to the Vector. So absolutely love that. I think that's a 10 out of 10 upgrade they changed there. Another thing to note is the charging handle. So they shortened the charging handle on the Gen 3 for a couple reasons. On the Gen 2, the charging charging handle is fairly long, but kind of a pro and con. Easy to grab and get a hold of, but a lot of people ran into the issue is they would grab the charging handle all the way out here, and because of physics, it's kind of hard to pull it back. So instead you have to move your hand inward a bit, and then you can charge the gun. So physics people, you can't do it all the way out here. It's really difficult. So with all the feedback from customers, they just said, you know what, we'll help you out. Let's shorten this charging handle here. And now when you grab it on the outside, you can easily still pull it back. And then obviously if you move your hand inward, you can really easily go ahead and charge it. And again, just to show the size difference there, here they are side by side. Gen 2 on the left and then Gen 3 on the right. So definitely helps from a ergonomic and use standpoint. Now, the biggest and coolest part of the Gen 3 that they changed is the pistol grip. On the Gen 2, you can see that whatever's here is what you get. There's nothing you can really change or swap. It's all built right into the frame. However, on the Gen 3, they said, hey, you guys might want to customize this. So they actually made this a AR-15 pistol grip. So you can swap this for any AR-15 pistol grip to get the right angle that works for you. And just to show you how cool this is, let me actually demonstrate. Let's change the pistol grip. To swap the grip, let's do the most extreme example here. So you can see we have a nice angle, the stock Kriss Vector grip, but let's put this Die-Frico grip on, which is basically a vertical pistol grip. So that way I can show you what it looks like. So to remove this grip here, the first thing we need to do is remove this connecting piece from the grip to the frame here. And you can probably finagle and get this off just as is by pulling it. But just to be safe here, I'm going to actually remove the bolt carrier section so that way we have access to it. So I'll remove this pin right here. I'm gonna remove this front pin right here. And then I'm gonna remove this pin in the rear here. And just like that, that's actually how you take apart a Kriss Vector. So we're gonna set this part aside. Now on the inside, we can see where that is connecting in with our tab. So to remove this, we're gonna push this tab to the rear, and then we're gonna just grab this and pop it off, finagle and wiggle this off. Come on, there we go. So you can see it was just a kind of tab inserted there. So now that we have that off, we're good to go. And then the next thing is now we have access to that screw, just like on an AR-15. So we're gonna get our screwdriver and we're gonna go ahead and insert it into the grip. And then we're gonna lefty-loosey and go ahead and loosen it off. Come on. There we go. Then we'll knock our screw out the bottom. Like that. Grab your new AR-15 grip, and in this case, we are doing the Die-Frico one. Oh my gosh, this just looks ridiculous already. And then we're gonna take that same screw that we had here and just reinsert it into the hole to attach it to the lower. Right spot, right there. And then we're just gonna go ahead and tighten it. Almost there, and cool. Good to go. Man, that looks goofy. Now that we have that back on, let's grab the rest of the gun and we're gonna reattach this back in. We're gonna take our 3 pins here, reinsert it. And honestly, this is a good time to point out that the Kriss Vector is such a easy gun to service and take apart. Definitely one of my favorite things about it, because they have their 3-pin system. And then if you needed to take the bolt carrier out, you would take out that 4th pin. But it's as simple as that. And there you have it. You probably have the first of its kind, the Die-Frico grip on a Gen 3 Kriss Vector. Definitely gives you a different angle. I don't know if this is better or worse, having it be vertical. I'll have to try it out and let you know what I think. But either way, whatever grip you have, AR-15 style, you can easily swap it onto your Vector, so that way you can get whatever your favorite grip is. The last and probably most important thing to discuss is how did this do at the range, and did we have any malfunctions in the first 500 rounds? Oh, before we talk about that though, make sure and like, comment, subscribe if you've enjoyed this video. Also, make sure and check out the video description down below. I put some links that should be helpful in relation to today's video and in general for you. So of the 500 rounds we put through this, how many malfunctions did we have? Guys, I am happy to report that we did not have a single malfunction related to the gun in the 500 rounds. Yes, that's right. No failures to feed, no failures to extract. The gun ran, well, just as it should. As far as testing the gun, I did run all 500 rounds suppressed with this Mojave 45 suppressor on the end. Mags I was using all Glock mags. I used some X-Tech mags as as well as some Magpul, I think they're the Glock P mags. All of those ran just fine. And then for the ammo I used 115 grain, 124 grain Blazer 9mm. And then I used some Federal 147 subsonic and 150 Syntac, which is also subsonic. And with all the different ammo I ran, the gun ran just fine. I'll put in a clip here. I tested the sound comparison of the supersonic versus subsonic ammo. We're gonna run 5 150 grain Syntac ammo, then 5 147 grain, and then 5 supersonic at 124 grain. The last 5 have my ears ringing. The 150 grain Syntac ammo, so much fun to shoot, and it's so quiet, but it's also the most expensive. Now that being said, we did have some issues, but they were all user error related. Let me explain. Without a vertical grip on the gun, naturally you're gonna wanna put your hand right here, and by doing so, your palm is over the mag release as well as on the bolt catch here. So I did have quite a few times where my palm would be resting over that bolt catch, so I would shoot around, the bolt would lock back. I would go, oh no, we had a malfunction. I look, the bolt is locked back to the rear. All I do is hit the bolt release, and then the gun rechambers, and then I would keep shooting. So again, 100% user error and just kind of ergonomics related there, but very simple solution to this. Either add a vertical grip if you're SBRing it, or like we did on our Gen 2, add a angle grip, so that way it's keeping your hand away from those controls and you're not causing a bolt lock back or some kind of user malfunction. Other things to note about the Kriss Vector in general and the updated stuff is they do have a updated stock, and I am planning to SBR this, so Kriss was nice enough to send out the stock as well once I get that Form 1 approved. I think aesthetically this stock looks way cooler than the Gen 2 versions, as well as the hinge is super easy to use. And then you also have a button on the side here to extend it or collapse it back in. I also think in general, the Kriss Vector is one of those guns that were designed not with the NFA in mind and all their stupid rules for tax stamps and SBRs, because I think the best way this setup is supposed to be ran is in the SDP, so this format here with the shorter barrel, with the new stock on it, which again, ergonomically is better as well. And Kriss came out with a new vertical grip with their Gen 3, and it definitely removes the issue I had of accidentally hitting the controls here and gives you a solid grip with the vertical grip on the front. So again, I'm probably gonna have an updated video on this once I SBR this with a vertical grip with the stock, run a bunch more rounds through it, and see what we think of it then as well. One other major pro tip, whether you have a Gen 3, a Gen 2, or whatever caliber Vector you have, and if you're putting an optic on it, 100% get a riser for your optic. On this setup here, I have the Unity Tactical riser with the Vortex UH1 holographic sight on top. Reason that you need to raise this optic up is because this is a very low bore axis gun and everything is kind of in line with this pick rail here. So if you didn't have your optic rised up, you're gonna have to get pretty low on the gun and like a cheek weld on this, which with the Super V recoil on this, rather than, you know, it going like this, the gun honestly like shakes up for the recoil. So without the riser and when you're down on this getting like a cheek weld, the recoil of the gun is just gonna be smacking you in the face and it is not pleasant at all. Simple solution as I said, and I almost consider this a must if you have a Vector. Put a riser, put your dot on there. I had no issues running the setup like this. Honestly, I felt like I could rise the optic up a little bit higher and it would be even more comfortable yet. Hopefully this was helpful today. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Let me know what you think of the Gen 3 Vector. You're gonna be picking one of these up. And until next time, have fun shooting and we'll see you soon. Thanks everybody.